Last week, a founder I know worked 100 hours straight on his startup. He posted about it on LinkedIn, got thousands of likes. 3 days later, he had a breakthrough idea for his business while taking a shower. Those 100 hours, they didn't produce anything meaningful. That shower, it changed his company's trajectory. Today, we're going to talk about why working harder might not be making you smarter. Let's start with something that might make the hustle gurus uncomfortable. Some of the most successful people in history work less than you probably do. I'm not talking about Musk or about Bezos here. I'm talking about OG success stories. Einstein developed the theory of relativity while working as a patent clerk, a job he took specifically because it left his mind free to think. Darwin took 3 walks every day. Newton developed calculus during a pandemic lockdown when he was forced to slow down. What hustle culture gets devastatingly wrong is that it treats your brain like a factory when it's actually more like a garden. You simply can't force creativity like you force overtime in a production line. What looks like doing nothing to the hustle mindset is often your brain doing its most important work. Your brain has 2 distinct modes, the task positive network and the default mode network. The first is getting things done. The second, which only activates when you're doing nothing, is where creativity, insight and innovation happen. When you're always hustling, you're essentially keeping your brain's creative network permanently switched off. We've fallen into what's known as the productivity theater, where looking busy takes priority over actually being effective. Employees tap away at their keyboards, making it seem like they're working harder than they really are, because taking a moment to pause or relax is often perceived as a bad thing. The most damaging part, we're confusing movement with progress. Being busy has become a status symbol, even when that business is actually preventing us from doing our best work. Here's something fascinating about how creativity actually works. It follows a cycle of tension and release. You need periods of intense focus followed by periods of complete disengagement. It's like a rubber band. The tension is the useless without the release. But hustle culture tells us to maintain constant tension. It's like trying to build muscle by never letting your muscles rest and recover. Not only does it not work, it leads to injury. What's really interesting is how top performers in any field understand this intuitively. Athletes know about rest and recovery. Musicians know when to put down their instruments, but somehow in business, we're convinced ourselves constant grinding is the answer. This is where people who lack creativity often struggle to understand. They use a word, procrastination. They say stop procrastinating and get on with it. What they failed to realize is that if people simply get on with it without thinking, it can be detrimental in the final product. It's like making a cup of tea without letting the tea bag brew. You're just left with a cup of hot water. That's good for nothing. This is about understanding what looks like downtime is actually a crucial part of the creative process. Consider this, most breakthrough innovations don't come from 80-hour work weeks. They come from what I call structured spaciousness, creating deliberate space for your mind to wander with defined boundaries. Google's famous 20% time wasn't about working more, it was about creating more space for creativity. The Post-it note wasn't invented during 3M's 15% time. These companies understood that innovation needs room to breathe. The solution isn't to stop working hard, it's to start working in harmony with how your brain actually functions. This means designing your work rhythm around your creative cycles, not around some hustle guru's Instagram schedule. You know what I find fascinating about the candle flame? It needs both fuel and space to burn. Too much fuel smothers it, too much space extinguishes it. Your creativity works the same way. Look out there, everyone's running, everyone's hustling, but how many are actually moving forward? How many are just spinning in their increasingly exhausted cycles? Here's something to consider. What if the next breakthrough in your business isn't waiting at the end of another 80-hour week? What if it's waiting for you when you sit and chill in that moment when you finally let your mind breathe? The most valuable asset you have isn't your ability to work longer hours, it's your ability to see what others miss. And you can't see clearly when you're always running. So here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow, schedule an hour of nothing. No phone, no meetings, no productive tasks. Just you and just your thoughts. Do what Steve Jobs used to do. Go for a walk in the woods. Or follow Howard Schultz's example and sit in a cafe drinking coffee. Just remember this. While everyone else is busy, you'll be busy being brilliant. Because sometimes the most productive thing you can do is absolutely nothing at all. See you in the next video. Until then, keep innovating and keep growing.